Hello, all. Welcome back to your English class. I'm Jasmine, and this is the 16th module. In this module, we are going to continue with the chapter We Are Not Afraid to Die If We Can All Be Together, written by Gordon Cook and Alan East, taken from the book Hornbill. In the previous module, we saw how the family's pleasant journey slowly becomes hard, and finally, how they're getting ready to face the upcoming events. Now, let's continue reading. In this section of the story, you can see how things gets worsen with the family. The narrator says around 6 p.m., an unpleasant silence rolled over. It was an indication of a disaster which was about to happen. The wind suddenly dropped and the sky was darker with heavy clouds. A huge cloud was coming toward the stern of the ship, but later the narrator realized it was a huge wave. The wave was perfectly vertical and it was twice the height of the previous waves they saw, with the top of the wave looking unpleasant due to its height. Now let's see which are the new words used in this section. First one, impending, which means about to happen. Second one, ominous silence, which means unpleasant or threatening silence. Third one, aft, which means near the stern of the ship. And the final one, crest, which means reach the top of a wave. Now let's read the story further. In this section of the story, you can see a tremendous change in the weather conditions. The narrator says the thunder increased and the wave moved the stern up. They thought that it would not do any damage, but a huge explosion vibrated the deck. A strong, moving stream of green and white water broke over the ship. The narrator's head smashed in the wheel of the ship. He flew overboard and sank below the waves. He accepted that his death was approaching and started losing consciousness. He felt quite peaceful. Let us now see the new words used in this section of the story. The first one, deck, which means a floor of a ship. Second one, torrent, which means a fast moving stream of water. And the final one, smashed, which means shattered or violently broken. Now let's read further. In this section of the story, you can see how the situation becomes more adverse and all of them trying hard to tackle the situation. Though the narrator thought he was so close to death, somehow his head popped out of water. The ship was about to overturn, but a wave turned her upright. His lifeline jacket was stretched. He grabbed the guardrails and sailed to the ship's main pole. The waves tossed him around the deck. He was injured as his left ribs cracked, his mouth filled with blood, and he had a broken tooth. He found the wheel, lined the stern for the next wave, and waited. There was water everywhere. The narrator could feel water below the ship, but he didn't leave the wheel alone. Suddenly, the front door opened and his wife Mary came screaming that they were sinking. She said, "The decks are smashed. We're full of water." The narrator handed her the wheel and climbed towards the door. Now let's discuss the new words in the section. The first one, capsizing, which means be overturned in the water. Second one, hurled, which means throw with a great force. The third one, taut, which means stretched or pulled tightly. Next one, boom, which means pole that controls the angle and shape of the sail. Another one, scrambled, which means climb. And the final one, hatch. Here it means the door. Now let's read further. In this section, you can see the crewmen, Larry and Herb, were pumping the water very fast. The timbers of the ship were broken and were hanging badly. The starboard of the ship had sunk, clothes, crockery, charts, tins, and toys were roaming around in deep water. The narrator swam and crawled to the children's cabin and asked the children whether they were all right. The children replied yes. Sue, his daughter, complained about a big bump on her head. The narrator didn't pay much attention to it as his major concern was to save them. The narrator found screws, hammer, and canvas. He went back to the deck. The broken starboard side was letting so much water in. If the narrator could not fix the problem, they would all sink in the sea. Now let's discuss the new words in this section. The first one, starboard, which means side of a ship which is on the right side when one is facing forward. Second one, sloshed, which means move through liquid with a splashing sound. And the final one, bashed, which means strike hard or hit. Now let's wind up here, and we don't know what is going to happen further. Let's wait and see it in the upcoming module. I hope the session was helpful. Thank you.